Hello there. My name's Karnak. Pleased to meet you. Yeah. So recently I've been going over the Sinder situation and the whole 1,000 page Sinder Google Docie, and I was curious about the details of it. So I sort of had to dive in with my friends, and we read through the entire thing. Can you believe it? But obviously there's quite a lot of meat to the bone when it comes to this drama. And I sort of wanted to do like a little explainer or a little guide for people who might be new to this and sort of want to know the haps of what's going on. There have already been a couple really good breakdowns of like the text of the document and sort of what's in the document overall. But what I thought would be interesting instead was, given that I've just read the drama, what I could do is construct a tier list of the dramatic actors, so we can see like actor by actor sort of what they did and where the blame relatively lies for the drama. Now of course this is all my own opinion, and I sort of have my own little system of ranking these people. So some of the scores might be a bit lower or a bit higher than what you're expecting. But you know what, this this video isn't to make friends. Anyway, so the hope is that I can give a general overview of the drama in like a more or less fair fashion based on the facts that are inside of the 1,000 page doc and inside of the other streams and docs that have been released on Sinder. And before I get into the details of the drama, I just wanted to introduce the system we're going to be grading our dramatic actors on. Okay. So introducing Karnak's patent pending 10 tier drama list. Wait, 10 tier drama tier list. All right. So basically, I've been calling this the dickhead rating in colloquial terms when I talk to people. And the dickhead rating, it's a combination of an absolute rating and a relative rating. Okay. So in red, we've got 9 and 10. So if you're a level 9 or level 10 dickhead, you're some sort of like, you're evil. Like, I typically describe level 10 as you're a murderer. Level 9 is you're like physically trying to assault somebody, or you're like physically attacking them, or like doing them bodily harm, or like killing their pets or something. Level 8, to be a level 8 dickhead, you have to be, so this is sort of the gray zone in between like just being a general asshole and being somebody who's like a criminal. So level 8 is that's where slander lies, and like you know, people are like legitimately trying to vindictively hurt each other. Levels 5, 6, and 7. This is the the general prick. This is the general prick level where you're being a little bit too mean to be funny, but you're you know, look, this is drama, okay? So like some people just hate each other, and generally if people hate each other, they fall somewhere in 5, 6, or 7. The general levels 3 and 4, this is what I like to call the hardcore internet goober tier, where you've taken something petty and you've blown it out of proportion, and you're acting irrationally based on your inner demons. Levels 3 and 4 are typically, like, to me, level 3 and 4 is the sweet spot for drama. This is where like people are being really, really funny. And typically, like, internet dramas typically internet dramas rest in 3 or 4. Levels 1 and 2, this is the light goober tier. So 3 and 4 is the heavy goober tier. 1 and 2 is the light goober tier. If you're a light goober, then you're just like, either you don't mean it, you don't really mean it, you're not really committed to it, or you don't even realize that you're doing something wrong, but you like double down anyway. And level 0 is you honestly, you acted in best faith and you did the best you could, but you know, look, we're all dramatic personae in this tier list, okay? So now that the tier list has been introduced, I'll go over the basic facts of the drama. So essentially, this whole thing stems from private conversations between Redacted, who is Sinder's boyfriend and manager, and Sinder's main artist, which is a woman named Nanoless. basically, Redacted and Nanoless had an inappropriate relationship where they were good friends, while Redacted was also trying to act in Cinder's best interest. And the resulting conflict of interest saw that Redacted was trying to quote-unquote control Nanoless's work and Nanoless's art flow. And this affected a lot of Cinder's friends because Redacted wouldn't want Nanoless to work with certain VTubers who were also meant to be Cinder's friends. Upon finding out that Nanoless and Redacted had a conflict of interest relationship, all of Cinder's friends basically came out with like massive thousands and thousands of viewers worth of live streams. I think Cinder's document did a media analysis and she found that there were 30 million total views generated on Cinder being like a bad person. All because Redacted and Nanoless were trying to work out what they call an exclusivity deal. Now, this obviously ruined Cinder's career completely. Cinder was professionally destroyed, and she was obviously personally severely affected. Cinder, in the same night, lost all of her friends, lost all of her professional connections, lost her boyfriend because she dumped Redacted, and her world was basically spiraling out of control. So fast forward 5 months later, Cinder decided that she was going to like sit in the Batcave and prepare what's quite possibly the biggest Google Doc we've seen on the internet, and maybe the biggest one we'll ever see on the internet, because I don't think anyone else is going to do a 1,000-page worth of their own personal receipts and like basically giving us a Truman Show look into their entire lives. It is quite brave of Cinder to come out with the full unredacted truth of what happened. Now, when we're analyzing a situation and we're looking for the truth, typically what we want to do is we want to look at the screenshots and then apply our own. Look at the screenshots, listen to what people have to say about their state of mind, and then apply our own intuition on how we believe people behave. And I believe that's the best way to arrive at some sort of semblance of the truth. Because the main thing you want to be careful of is you don't want your emotions to dictate your actions. Because when your emotions dictate your actions, that's when you're prone to making a mistake and adding pain where it doesn't need to be. So we're going to go through this by dramatic actor in alphabetical order. Now, these are all of the dramatic actors that were included in Cinder's document, and we're going to look at basically their interactions with Cinder over the last 2 years, what they did, according to the doc at least, and my opinion on whether they're acting like a bit of a goober or not. So with that out of the way, let's go to our first villain of the story, Aruuu. Here's Aruuu a villain, let's find out. Aruuu is definitely a villain. She is an absolute emotional pirate, because I had to read Aruuu and Cinder's DMs and it dropped my IQ by at least 15 points. It was such a frustrating read. Oh my god. Like, if you ever wanted to see like typical Valley girls like squealing and like holding hands and like jumping up and down, that's Aruuu and Cinder's DMs. It was insufferable. Anyway, I'm just having a giggle at Aruu's expense here. Aruu's involvement in the Cinder drama was Aruuu and Cinder sort of linked up. I think it was around 2022, 2023. It doesn't really matter. But they linked up after some sort of con, and Cinder and Aruuu and Silvervale are all like wolf VTubers. And so Aruuu came up with this idea to do a wolf collab with Cinder, Silvervale, and Aruuu, and Silvervale agreed. Now, the reason that's like vaguely interesting is because Cinder and Silvervale aren't the biggest fans. At least, like, Silvervale doesn't seem to like Cinder very much. And so, even though Silvervale like agreed to the collab, she sort of backed out of it. And Cinder like asked Aruuu a couple of times, "Hey, what about that collab with Silvervale? Did you want to do it?" Now, during the cancellation, the way Aruuu spun this was that was that Cinder was constantly on Aruu's ass about like going up to Silvervale for like a collab, and this is to reinforce Silvervale's whole like Cinder was stalking me allegations. This is nonsense if you read the DMs. It's quite clear that Cinder was actually genuinely being friendly with Aruuu. They had multiple collabs which didn't involve Silvervale at all. They had multiple conversations which didn't involve Silvervale at all. And Cinder was only asking about the collab because like she wanted to collab with Silvervale to build a bridge there, and also because she thought the collab was still happening. So ultimately, where do I put Aruuu on the internet goober tier list? Well, basically Aruuu is the classic like level 1 goober, because while Aruuu didn't do anything like pre-cancellation. Like, she was just being Cinder's friend. But then as soon as Cinder is like having her life destroyed, it seems like Aruuu sort of opportunistically took the time to misrepresent her DMs with Cinder, which, yeah, it's you're a bit of a goober, Aruuu. Why did you do that? But you didn't have to do that. Anyway. Next up we have Bao the Whale. Alrighty. So Bao the Whale is a large VTuber. She is a songstress. And she is one of the most popular VTubers in the world, and somebody Cinder really looked up to. Bao and Cinder became friends sometime around 2022, 2023. Basically, Redacted was in Cinder's ear, as Cinder tells it. Redacted was in Cinder's ear, saying Bao was like a terrible person because like Bao ghosted them once or something. This led to Cinder not being as active in Bao's social life as Bao probably would have liked. Cinder does take accountability for this and does say, you know, I was a bad friend to Bao, so like fair enough. The principal things Bao did were like petty things, like she was rude to some waitstaff once, and she didn't appear somewhere where like she was meant to be, and like Redacted thought that was rude. And so in response, Redacted started messaging Nanoless like all sorts of nonsense. And don't worry, we're gonna get to Redacted, but like right now we're doing Bao, okay? There was a large content push by Redacted and Cinder called Boss Rush in 2023, 2024, and Bao sort of wanted to be a part of it after she saw, you know, oh, this thing's like really cool. I want to be part of it. And Bao pulled Cinder into a group chat and Redacted into a group chat and said like, oh dude, let's do Boss Rush together. This sounds really cool. I think it's actually Redacted that didn't want any part of it. So that's like that's on Redacted, and I think Cinder agreed to that, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure on those specific facts. After the Boss Rush MV was out, Bao managed to get an exclusivity deal with her MV editor, Sakremore, who happened to also be the MV editor for Boss Rush. And basically, because Red had gremlins in his brain about the whale. Listen, Bao got Sakremore exclusively and Red took personally. Which is why you see the awkward DMs in Nanoless's cancellation about Bao the Whale taking their MV editor, because Sakremore, for his own reasons, decided to work with Bao, and Red thought it was some grand conspiracy to stop Boss Rush from happening just because Bao couldn't be a part of it. And this is all in Red's gremlin-y little mind, so again, we'll get to Redacted, don't worry. The only other contention in Bao's cancellation document was the issue of a birthday model that Nanoless was meant to work for, was meant to give Bao in 2024. The issue is that when Bao first learned of the great betrayal of Cinder VT, what happened was she was pulled into some sort of secret group chat, which is confirmed by Shylily and Silvervale. There was some sort of secret group chat where Bao was pulled into, and she was shown evidence that Redacted was the mastermind behind cancelling Bao's Live 2D model for her birthday. And this obviously put Bao out like quite significantly in terms of like Live 2D models. They're very stressful. There's a whole like merch line generally associated with them, and obviously there's only so many birthdays you can have per year. So this was a big issue for Bao. and learning that Redacted was behind the cancellation of Bao's model was obviously very upsetting for her, which is what led her initially to the cancellation. Oh, and by the way, as an aside, for everyone saying why this should have been handled privately, Bao explicitly states in her document why it was not handled privately. So, if you got complaints about this being handled publicly, talk to Bao. Okay, so Bao was convinced that Redacted was the mastermind behind the cancellation of the Life2D model, which is probably what sealed the deal. It turns out that Nanoless actually cancelled the model of her own volition, which is very obvious when you read through their DMs. And the reason Nanoless cancelled the model was because she was just overworked and had taken on too much work, and Redacted, being the good friend that he was, supported Nanoless' decision in the sense that he doesn't want his friend to be overworked. It had nothing to do actually with like Bao the Whale or cancelling work on Bao. Interestingly enough, there is evidence, which we'll go over in Nano's section, of Nano lying to Redacted about cancelling Bao's model a second time, which is very interesting. I'm not sure if Bao knows that there was a second Bao cancellation. I think that might be something Nanoless was keeping from Miss Bao. So, despite the obvious conflict of interest, Bao sort of got it into her mind that Sinder was undermining her career, like, quite legitimately. And ultimately, as far as we understand the secret group chat at the moment, Nanoless and Shylily wanted to leave it up to Bao as to whether or not Sinder got cancelled. And Bao, given the evidence presented to her, decided, yes, let's go ahead with it. Let's toast Cinder's career. Now, Shylily is on record saying that they had career-ruining evidence against Cinder, and they slept on it for a night. So they obviously slept on it for a night, and then they all dropped their Google Docs at once at 2 in the morning, designed to be a time when Cinder would be asleep, so that Cinder would wake up to no career. Now, Bao was given the knife. And as far as we can tell, Bao was the one who decided in the end that it was time to like cancel Cinder and like release all the public information. But I would say I think it's actually fair to say that Bao was working at like off of the information she had, and that she had like everyone's best interests at heart. Because if she does truly believe that Cinder's trying to undermine her for years, and all of these friends have like similar experiences with Cinder, and she's seeing DMs of Cinder's boyfriend and manager and Cinder herself, being two-faced around her, it's reasonable that she would have made the decisions that she made, but she did still cause the cancellation. Despite that, I don't attribute much agency to Bao, to be honest. I don't think. While I think that she did do the cancellation herself, I don't think that the act of thrusting the knife into the heart holds as much moral culpability when literally everybody is like pushing your hand to do it. So I think Bao should have, in an ideal world, Bao should have reached out to Cinder and talked it over. But if Bao thinks that she's a manipulative liar, well, why would she talk to a manipulative liar just to get manipulated again? So it's sort of understandable. So that being said, I actually attribute Bao no moral culpability in Cinder's cancellation. I think Bao did the best she could with the information she was given. Buffpup. So Buffpup's one of the girly pops, and she was briefly mentioned in Cinder's document. But having reviewed her stream and looking over all the evidence, Buffpup didn't really add any novel evidence to the Cinder allegations, and only expressed her own frustration that she was like angry at Cinder on the internet. Given that emotional tensions were high at the time, it's perfectly reasonable for Buffpup to have this sort of reaction. Especially because Buffpup would have been in the secret Discord call, and she would have been watching as Bao like breaks down like live in front of her as she realizes that Cinder's betrayed her, quote unquote. So Buffpup was as manipulated as Bao. Effectively, in terms of the cancellation, I truly believe that Bao and Buffpup were weapons used against Cinder in order to do maximum damage to her career. And so just being weapons by themselves, that doesn't mean that they were the ones who were personally making agentic decisions to destroy Cinder's life. And they were just reacting as, you know, like genuine and true friends, but they thought they were genuine true friends who had been betrayed, which contextualizes their streams quite a lot. Nanoless. What have you done? What have you done, little lady? Alright. So, Nanoless was Cinder's model artist. Having become good friends with Sinder back in 2022, Nanoless, Sinder and Redacted all worked together to create the Sinder brand together. The section on Nanoless was mostly edited by Redacted, as he contextualized a lot of the DMs that he and Nanoless shared over the last 3 years. Now, the principal problem between Redacted and Nanoless was a fundamental conflict of interest. Basically, what happened is that Redacted has to work in Cinder's best interest, but because Redacted and Nanoless are BFFs, Redacted also sometimes wants to work in Nanoless's interest. Now, as a manager of a VTuber, Redacted wants Nanoless to work for the VTuber. But as Nanoless's friend, Redacted wants Nanoless to not overwork herself and achieve her dreams. Unfortunately, the way this conflict of interest arises is that quite often, Redacted would talk to Nanoless on an interpersonal level. And Nanoless, complaining about her workload, would share Trello boards of her workload with Redacted, and then say, "Oh my god, I'm overworked." To which Redacted would say, "Oh, man, that really sucks." And Nanoless would then say, "I want to cancel. I'm going to cancel everybody." To which Redacted would make, you know, neutral or no comment to. And then when Nanoless actually cancels everybody, and Nanoless goes, "Oh, I'm a free woman, yay!" To which Redacted sounds supportive, in general, of his friend having less work to do. Now, the issue arises is that when Nanoless shares her DMs with Shylily, and because there was one thing leaked, as Shylily says, there was one thing that broke everything apart. And it was one particular message between Redacted and Nanoless that went to Shylily. Shylily then demands to see more DMs of Nanoless. And so the Nanoless then conveniently fails to mention that Nanoless was happy to cancel on Bow and Cottontail VA. And Nanoless was also happy that she was quote unquote a free woman, as she cancels other VTubers who aren't Sinder. Key contention within the drama was the exclusivity deal between Red and Nanoless. The way Nanoless described it in her original doc, Red was manipulating her into not working with any of Cinder's friends, including Bow, Cottontail VA, and Silvervale. However, what Nanoless fails to present in the document is that she actually fully accepted the deal. Nanoless was willing to throw Bow, Silvervale, and Cottontail VA under the bus, and in one of the DMs, Nano specifically said, "I don't care about Bow or Cotton," referring to working with them anymore or to cancelling their models. Now, another thing that Nano puts in her doc is a DM where she says, "I don't want to cancel on Bow," with a crying Pepe face. And what she fails to mention is that she put that DM out of order to when it really happened, because not wanting to cancel with Bow was referring to her birthday in 2024, when the exclusivity deal was being negotiated in January of 2025. Putting these out of order significantly alters the context of these DMs and their meaning. Nano independently decided to cancel on Bow because she was overworked in 2024, and Redacted was supportive of her because Nanoless wanted to be a VTuber and not just a model artist. Redacted was supporting his friend's journey to becoming a VTuber and accidentally provided Nanoless with a juicy out-of-context DM that made it look as though Redacted wanted Nanoless to cancel on Bow the Whale. This is malicious lying. Nanoless lied maliciously. Now, another consequence of these texts being out of order is that Nanoless cancelled the model on Bao in 2024. So why was she talking about a model in 2025? Especially because Bao only had one model cancelled. Why did Nanoless still have Bao's work in her backlog? Well, the obvious reason would be Nanoless didn't cancel the model originally. She only put the model on hiatus, and she was planning on working on it at some later date. Which means that when Nanoless was negotiating an exclusivity deal with Redacted, she purposefully used the fact that she was still intending to work for Bao as leverage to get a better deal out of Redacted. And she did it for a Sinder demon figurine. Hey, I'm happy to cancel all this work for all my friends for a Sinder demon figurine. Maybe that didn't go over well in the Discord where Bao's literally crying over her birthday being cancelled, huh? Maybe it didn't go so well. So you just sort of conveniently left that out, huh? Sinder actively demonstrates that Nanoless maliciously lied. And it seems to be that after Nanoless showed her DMs to Shylily, Shylily then took over and then used the screenshots provided by Nanoless to organize the information in such a way that would make Sinder look like an absolute asshole, thus ruining her career. So as far as Nanoless's culpability goes, Nanoless seems to have lied about her friend Redacted, lied about his intentions, cancelled models without being forthright on why she's cancelling them, and then when she's caught red-handed, she manipulated the proof and actively participated in the downfall of Sinder, specifically so that she could work with some of the industry's largest, she could continue working with some of the industry's largest VTubers, making tons of money and getting lots of love from her fans. These lies probably rise, at least colloquially, to the definition of like slander and libel. And so the only reasonable rank you can give Nanoless is an 8. The only reason I don't give Nanoless, say, like a 9, because it's very difficult for me. A level 9 to me means like Nanoless was like actively assaulting Sinder and or actively trying to get Sinder hurt, and I don't think that was the case. So yes, Nanoless has a lot to answer for. There is so much evidence in the document that Nanoless knew exactly what she was doing at every point in time, and the reason I think someone like Nanoless would lie is because she's an incompetent goober that knew that she could see the way the winds were turning, and she knew basically how to get out of it with the skin of her teeth. Numi is Sinder's music producer and one of Sinder's friends. Numi's involvement in the drama is that Numi was holding a concert at some point in 2025, I think, and there was a scheduling conflict between the concert in 2025 and the launch of some product from GameStop called V-Card, which Sinder was a part of. Sinder wanted to support V-Card, but she also wanted to support her friend at the concert, and V-Card randomly got rescheduled until it was on the day of Numi's concert. Numi said it's okay if Sinder doesn't come, it's okay if Sinder doesn't come, it's okay if Sinder doesn't come. And then as soon as Sinder said, oh, I might not be able to make it, Numi got understandably very upset because the concert was actually very important to Numi. Sinder immediately wrote a long sprawling apology to Numi, which was very funny. And you know what? They settled it. This was not part of the Sinder cancellation drama until somebody else made it part of the Sinder cancellation drama, and Numi actually went live talking about it. Now, what's often left out of the story here is that Sinder knowing that she fucked up, actually rescheduled Lily to an hour earlier. So Cinder rescheduled Lily, and then Cinder went to the concert. Cinder did actually go to Numi's concert. Once again, Cinder went to Numi's concert. She actually made it. She's there. There's video evidence. There's a photographic evidence of her being there, watching Numi perform live on stage. So the narrative that Cinder abandoned or betrayed her friend for the sake of her job. One, it's not incredibly unusual for somebody to have to work late and then to be late to a friend's big event. That's not incredibly unusual. And two, it's factually not true. Cinder made it there. They had matching shirts. So Numi's involvement with the drama was pretty minimal, because after the girls made their cancellation videos and went live with all of that, Numi basically piled on with her own live stream, trying to detail what happened to the concert, with the stream saying, "I am broken." And basically, a lot of Numi's live stream I can honestly chalk up to just having a bad memory. Because the things Numi didn't remember, which Cinder provided full context for, was that Cinder wasn't asked about performing at the concert. That's one thing. So Cinder wasn't asked about performing at the concert, and she mostly organized that with Redacted. She also told Redacted repeatedly that it would be okay if Cinder couldn't make it, and then when she couldn't actually make it, it became a big problem. To which Cinder immediately apologized, and she rearranged Lily to actually make the concert on time. And Numi sort of conveniently leaves that out of her live stream, which that's not the nicest thing to do. Anyway. I don't believe that Numi was maliciously or intentionally lying here. I think she was actually caught up in the emotion of the moment, and I think she misremembered some key details. Because it's more likely to me that Numi, rather than trying to misrepresent how she felt about the concert, how she felt about the concert altered her memory. I think that's more likely, because I don't think Numi went back and actually checked her DMs in a deeply autistic investigative fashion to try and to find out how she actually felt. The facts of Numi's concert though were primary motivators for Shylily's later attacks. So Numi is just saying what she said, but she did misremember quite a bunch of stuff, and nothing was forcing Numi to go on live stream and get a bunch of stuff wrong. So pretty irresponsible with the truth. Was intended, as far as I can tell, to hurt Cinder just a little bit because she felt slighted, but a lot of factual inaccuracies. And things where she might have benefited from rereading all of her DMs a little bit closer and find out who she was actually talking about. Because remember, Cinder and Redacted are two different people. Nyantales, the ASMR artist, this was part of this is the funnier parts of the entire drama, was reading the adventures of Cinder as she desperately fights off what she considers to be Cinder clones. Basically Nyantales, so her part in the drama was a deleted tweet where Nyantales claimed that Cinder tried to attack her in 2021. Yeah, this is a 5-year-old drama. So Nyantales claimed Cinder tried to attack her in 2021 for copying her VTuber. And it's incredibly petty. So basically what happened is Cinder Cinder debuted with her VTuber. And Cinder was very precious about 2 key design elements on her VTuber, which was belts on her fluffy tail, and fire in her ears. And Nyantales had belts on her tail and fire in her fluffy ears. And then after some Discord messages on Cinder's server, a bunch of people from Cinder's community decided to call Nyantales cringe on the internet. Cinder eventually, got into her DMs, and they kind of sorted it out. But I mean, listen, I've read Italian mafia stories, and this looked like Italian mafia stuff. It was really silly. So Nyantales is a goober. She did delete her tweet. But she was also very petty about it. So, I just thought it was funny. Redacted. All right. So now we get to one of the villains of. So now we get to another one of the villains in this whole VTuber drama. So Redacted is Cinder's boyfriend, and Redacted, for lack of a better word, he is sort of probably one of the big agents of this drama, where like he was making decisions. Like Redacted and Nanoless really colluded together to like cook up this drama for the last couple of years, because a lot of the drama stems from Redacted's conversations with Nanoless. So basically what happened is Redacted and Nanoless had a massive conflict of interest, where Redacted is trying to be Cinder's manager and work in Cinder's best interest. And what Redacted thought was Cinder's best interest was having Nanoless exclusive or as an in-house artist, where Redacted would pay Nanoless a salary of some kind, as he was already negotiating with some other artists, going in-house for a salary. And Nanoless would exclusively work on, Cinder stuff. Now, Nanoless recently claims that, like, the drama was more about the blacklisting rather than the exclusivity deal, but I mean, being exclusive necessarily means effectively a blacklist on VTubers. So, like, because it's like, you're in-house, so you're only drawing Cinder, so therefore you're naturally excluding other VTubers. But essentially, what Redacted did was a few things. So for one, Redacted is a bit of he is a bit of a paranoid schizo. Because like he thought that Bao the whale was trying to steal he thought that Bao the whale was trying to like get exclusive access to like an MV editor, and he thought that like Bao was like back talking Cinder when like she clearly wasn't. So that particular bit of the drama is like Bao was saying it's very difficult to work with like non-professional singers, and Cinder's a non-professional singer, and Redacted's like, oh, she means Cinder, that bitch. Bao was like rude to like some waitstaff in Japan, and Redacted sitting there like fuming. He's like, how dare she? Don't you know? You're meant to say gotcha say sama deshita! Ah! So Redacted is definitely like a goober. Redacted kept multiple secrets from Cinder during his management career, or like failed to pass things on. So in particular, details about Numi's concert were actually sorted out with Redacted, not Cinder, and Redacted failed to pass them on. Another bit was when Redacted was talking to Nanoless, they were going to blacklist Silvervale because like they didn't like Silvervale, but Redacted also like added in like for no reason at all Bao and Cottontail. And then, like, he had no reason to do that, because that was against Cinder's wishes. Redacted also organized Nanoless to not work with another VTuber called Spite, who they thought was copying them, but more on that later. Like, Redacted is a goober, okay? And he also had, like, a very dangerous conflict of interest, because there was a point where Nanoless was going to cancel on Bao. This is for her birthday livestream. And Redacted said, you do you. It's like you got to look out for number one. Number one meaning Nanoless. And then Redacted told Cinder about Bao getting cancelled, leading to Bao getting really upset about the cancellation, and Cinder having forewarning of it, which puts everyone in a very awkward position, right? Because the legitimate reason that Nanoless cancelled on Bao was Nanoless was overworked and wanted to work in a VTuber career. But like this conflict of interest wouldn't have happened if Redacted and Nanoless weren't like close personal friends. So Redacted, to me, he's a pretty shit manager. He's a pretty shit manager. There were times when Redacted like acted like an absolute goober on the internet. I think there were times when Redacted acted a bit maliciously. Like I think the blacklisting of Silvervale and blacklisting Spite was a bit malicious. You know, I think they were trying to keep Nanoless away from them. And part of this is because of Redacted's personal philosophy that a lot of the VTuber's value derives from the model. And so, like, the best way I've heard it described is Redacted thinks of VTuber models as trading cards. And if you have less of a trading card, then it's like more valuable because it's like, ooh, absolutely, you get a nano model, that'd be amazing. Holy shit, how did you get a nano model? I heard she only works with Sinder. You know, like that's the sort of philosophy Redacted has. And you can disagree with the philosophy, like I do. I think a VTuber's value is generated off the combination of the personality with the model, not like the model itself. Because, so you know what, I disagree with Redacted, but that's like part of his management style, and he was managing like one of the hottest VTubers on the planet. So you know, why to argue? Anyway, he acted like a goober, definitely. He did apologize. He apologized multiple times in documents, so like, you know, take it or leave it. Shylily. Et tu, Brute. Shylily. So Shylily is one of the world's biggest VTubers. Basically, her involvement in the drama was non-existent until something happened. So Shylily, basically, she was Cinder's business partner at G-Subs, and they were working together on a product launch called V-Card. And Sinder and Shylily, basically, they're working together on this card game where you have all the VTubers and the different trading cards or whatever and have powers, like who cares? And there was a point where Sinder leaked some information on V-Card, which like annoyed Shylily, but Sinder apologized for it. So like that's not really part of the drama, but it's sort of the precursor. Because soon after this, Shylily was thinking of getting a model from Nanoless. To which Redacted and Nanoless were like talking like in amongst themselves, and Redacted said something about Shylily. He's like, "Oh, hey, has Shylily approached you for a model?" And the reason Redacted did this was because Redacted's like a paranoid goober, and he noticed that Sinder wasn't getting, Shylily wasn't reacting to Cinder's raids, which is a capital crime in VTuber, not reacting to a raid. Oh my god. Anyway, so Redacted's like, is Shylily okay? Is Shylily getting like a model from you? Because like Redacted's got like little gremlins in his brain that everyone's out to get him. And Nanoless is like, yeah. And then Nanoless like it goes radio silent. She goes radio dead silent. And then as far as we can tell, Nanoless contacts Shylily about Redacted talking about her, and Shylily's like, what the fuck is this? And hang on, let me just get some emphasis. Shylily's like, what the fuck is this? All right. So oops, I'm a bit big now. There we go. Okay, so Shylily, upon seeing like these DMs from Redacted, she's like, no, this isn't normal. This isn't what VTubers normally do. And Nano was like, huh? And this basically begins like look, Redacted and Shylily peas in a pod, because I'm pretty sure the way the conversation went from there was Shylily and Nanoless like going, oh my god, did you hear? What else did he tell you? What else did he tell you? What else did he tell you? And then like Nanoless selectively leaking DMs to like show this, oh look, here's Redacted talking about the whale. we're talking about exclusivity. And then Shylily basically got herself worked up into a tizzy. And all right, look, I'm not gonna lie. Cinder has a very convincing speculation that Shylily, from this point on, with a combination of like her media savviness, and with a bit of a grudge against Cinder, Shylily was like, left hand on shoulder, Nanoless, we've got to take this bitch out. she pulled Bao the Whale, Buffpup, the girly pops, and and people from VTuber into like a secret DM, in order to orchestrate like the downfall of Cinder. So there was definitely like, what I can say for sure is there was definitely a coordinated media effort to take down Cinder VT. All of the Google Docs happened at the same time. The girls in Girly Pops and VTuber, specifically Buffpup and Bao, they all went live more or less at the same time, or like so they wouldn't overlap with each other. And Numi, sorry. When Cinder apologized, like Shylily dropped like the tweet of all time, like to immediately discredit Cinder's apology and like destroy her career forever. And then when Shylily went live, she had like the vitriol, and she was 1,000. She had the hate of 1,000 suns. She was like, no mercy, no prisoners. This bitch is going down. There was some very good quotes. There was some very good quotes from Shylily, and like there are some very look, Cinder didn't take a line down. Okay, she did some clapbacks in the responses, because Cinder went like bar for bar against Shylily's stream. Now Cinder had speculation as to why Shylily did all this. And the speculation is it's mildly compelling. Like I'd say it's 5 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 compelling that the speculation like is vaguely related to the truth. So basically, VTubing as a whole is sort of going down. Like if you're basically familiar with VShojo, and the VShojo situation where VShojo couldn't find angel funding for this year, and like one of the biggest VTuber communities in the world shuttered. This is the kind of environment we're in. And so Shylily, the last couple of years have been watching her numbers go down. And then Cinder, this like new woman, like comes into G-Subs and like buys, like she gets offered the G-Subs partnership, which used to be just Shylily's thing. And then, worst of all, V card dropped with like Cinder and Shylily sort of at the same like legendary tier of V card. And people at G-Subs were calling Cinder the Charizard of V-Card, which is the biggest meme. Because if Shylily's a Blastoise and Cinder's a Charizard, that means like by default Cinder has a cooler V-Card than Shylily, which is really funny. One of the other things to say that this was like a pre-orchestrated thing is in Shylily's lore video. In Shylily's lore video, it shows Shylily killing like a Groudon, which is like some legendary fire Pokemon. So Shylily's killing a Groudon made of like negative emotions with her friends, which is a bit weird given what happened with Cinder. Anyway, that shows like a deep level of gooberdom. So I don't think I've sold too well, like, how much Shylily orchestrated this entire thing, but, like, Cinder has very compelling evidence, I feel, that Shylily wrote Nanoless's document. Shylily organized the other VTubers to be in that, like, secret Discord DM. Shylily put the knife into Bao's hand, and Shylily was telling everyone that, the only option here is like complete destruction and cancellation of Cinder's career. And then Shylily went through with it. So Shylily published a message discrediting Cinder's apology completely. And then Shylily went on a 2.5-hour rampage against Cinder's reputation. So I'm more or less convinced that Shylily deserves it. She is up around level 8 with how harshly she was treating everything. And there is an argument that Shylily was lied to, which if Shylily genuinely believed this, then it puts her around a 7, but like there's reasonable evidence of spite. And not spite the VTuber, but like spite the emotion. So there's reasonable evidence that Shylily was doing this like out of spite or vindictiveness, which to me, look, she's hovering between 7 and 8, okay? Like I think the actions Shylily took definitely put her as someone trying to ruin her career. The only question was, is Shylily lying or not? And Shylily does misrepresent the truth in her vitriolic stream, but the question is, how much of that misrepresentation was intentional, and how much of it was her just getting things wrong? Anyway, I think after we read it, I think we all confirmed that like Shylily should be about an 8, and I think I agreed at the time. So, Shylily also generated one of the best memes out of this whole drama. And I'll get into the memes in a bit, but one of the best memes of the drama was Shylily. She just wanted to play World of Warcraft, man. She just wanted to play WoW. But she has to do this whole Twitch career. Okay. Silvervale. Silvervale is the rival. So, based on Cinder's account, Silvervale and Cinder had basically no relationship. So effectively, when Cinder was just starting out, Silvervale was already a big VTuber. Cinder posted some fan art called Silvervale to Cinder, which like Silvervale's mum like retweeted and then like unretweeted, and this this was the shot heard around the world. Basically, from that point on, Silvervale never really trusted Cinder, because Cinder sort of approached VTubing with what I'm going to call like a somewhat naked ambition, where Cinder wanted to be like a big VTuber. And Silvervale, seeing like an up and coming VTuber full of ambition wanting to join VShojo, she was sort of like had a bad taste in her mouth, and so she didn't really interact with Cinder. The other time Silvervale was involved was Cinder approached Silvervale at a meet and greet that she was also at, and they talked for like a couple of minutes, and then Redacted used it as a marketing opportunity. And the other thing was there was a collab with Aruuu that that Silvervale agreed to and then like quietly backed out of, and then didn't want anything to do with her. Silvervale added Cinder as a friend on Discord, and Cinder like messaged her a couple times about doing a collab. Silver said, "I don't want to do a professional collab." And then after that, Cinder messaged like maybe once a month, until once every 2 months, just asking if she wanted to like play Minecraft or like be friends or anything. And Silvervale like ghosted her basically. Like so Silvervale gave like no indication that she wanted to work with Cinder at all. The last time that they interacted was I think August 2024, and then and that was just Cinder asking Silvervale for like a Minecraft game together. So fast forward to the cancellation, Silvervale was pulled into the secret DM where she found out she was blacklisted from Nanoless. But what is not often talked about is Nanoless actually backed out of the exclusivity deal because she was working with Silvervale, and Redacted was fine with it. Which means Silvervale lost literally no work from Nanoless's exclusivity deal. Now this is important because Silvervale tries to portray herself as somebody who was trying to fend off like a malicious stalker, who was like directly harmed by the blacklisting of herself, when she wasn't actually like harmed by the blacklisting at all, because Nano displayed the idea that she could actually exercise agency and say no to Redacted, and Redacted would just say okay, no problem. So Silvervale, during the cancellation, Silvervale went live on her stream, and then she yucked it up, okay? I'm pretty sure she was crying about the Cindervale thing for a good 90 minutes. Like, having read through the transcript of her stream, it was incredible how much of a nothing burger like Silvervale like makes this sound, because if you listen to Silvervale's account of things, you would think that Sinder was like permanently hands on glass, fogging it up, looking at Silvervale. It's like, do you want to collab? But it's like, we're talking about like one message every 2 months. It's crazy, okay? It's crazy. I don't think Silvervale ever like legitimately felt afraid for her life. I don't think Silvervale ever felt like uncomfortable in a room with Sinder, or like thought that Sinder was going to get her at any point in time. I just legitimately don't think she felt that way. Reading Silvervale's actions and like looking into it, it seemed more like Silvervale just kind of didn't like Sinder and didn't want to be around her, but like Silvervale also, like, she didn't want to cut off the relationship because it might be valuable to her later. That was my reading of it. And so when Cinder was getting cancelled and like her life was spiraling around her, Silvervale took the opportunity to like drive the knife in like as hard as possible. Silvervale like vastly misrepresented like how Cinder treated her, like, because having read the DMs, there's nothing stalkerish about them, like literally nothing. Even the frequency of the DMs, which is like maybe once a month or once every 2 months, is literally just, hey, do you want to hang out? This is like, there are women in the world who wish they were stalked the way Cinder was quote unquote stalking Silvervale. Like, it's ridiculous to call this stalking. And I don't believe an adult woman is significantly upset by the Cindervale, the Cindervale tweet. Like, you cannot convince me that an adult woman who's like paid her taxes is upset by this. This is nonsense. This is ridiculous. Cinder was upset because Silvervale was upset because Cinder was coming up, was an up-and-comer in the VTuber world, and Silvervale didn't like it. And they were also both upset because people kept comparing them to each other. But the copying allegations, okay, they're false. Cinder didn't copy Silvervale. Silvervale didn't copy Cinder. But that was the crux of like why these two women just like fucking hated each other. Now I see Cinder and Silvervale as basically Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like, these two are peas in a pod and they deserve each other. Like, they couldn't ask for a better enemy. This is basically like two women rock up into a party in the same outfit and they're like, well, one of us has to change. It is petty, ridiculous drama. But I would say that lying to the extent that Silvervale did, and misrepresenting like the severity and scope of Cinder's actions towards Silvervale, and the really annoying way that she was crying the entire time, easily puts her at a 5. I don't believe, I believe they were crocodile tears. I don't legitimately think Silvervale felt threatened. I think she was being just a goober and she was trying to like wreck Cinder's career. So that put her at a 5 for me. All right, speaking of copycat drama, we have Spite VT. Oh man, Spite. So, Spite is a VTuber who is a Cerberus VTuber. Now, this is separate and legally distinct from Cinder, who is a Hellhound VTuber. This is separate and legally distinct from Silvervale, who's an Okami Wolf VTuber. This is like so dumb. Like definitely like the spite. If you want a good laugh at like women being petty, the spite section of the Sinder Google Doc is worth a read because these people are so petty. Basically, Spite thought Sinder was copying her. Sinder was like obviously not copying her. Spite is a smaller VTuber than Sinder, so anything Spite did, and this is something I can relate to actually, because Spite felt like after Heaven Hound came out, which Heaven Hound is one of Cinder's outfits, Spite felt that like there was nothing she could do that'd be like original or unique, because Spite at the same time came out with a Greek goddess outfit, which was you know, they were white with gold. They're both white with gold trims. They both look like somewhat angelic. So Spite was like, man, this sucks. And like anything I do, like Cinder's just gonna one up me. So like why the fuck should I even bother? Like this is the worst. And, like I respect it. Like Spite's actually pretty sympathetic. In the so Spite made a call out doc, like given the opportunity, and Spite was like, all right, listen to me. This bitch has been ruining my fucking life. I'm not a copy. So I sort of understand where Spite's coming from, even if her motivations are like kind of petty. Now, Spite did accuse Sinder of copying her, because there were some things that Spite did first that Sinder did later, and Sinder adequately proves in like careful autistic detail that like nothing that she did was because Spite did something first. It just all happened to fall that way. So the Heaven Hound model was like organized before Spite debuted. Like there are a couple of other things. Cinder's always had blue flames, like from like her initial like design docs. So like that's not unique either. And one of Cinder's like unique design features was that her flames could turn blue. So it's pretty clear to me that like Sinder didn't take any inspiration from Spite at all, and all of the similarities are just surface level because they both happen to be like wolf type VTubers. So now it's on Spite. Like if she wants to get into it, Spite now needs to release her like DMs with her artist to prove that she didn't copy either, and then we can all have another good Google Doc. One thing Sinder does a bit too is Sinder was really petty. So she did look at Spite once with like one of Spite's announcements, and like Sinder made her announcement like a couple days later, going, "Hey, I've got a blue one too. Take that, Spite." So I'm like, Jesus Christ. So Spite's completely vindicated. That's what I'm saying. Sinder, you copycat. Look. Spite made a lot of big claims that were unsubstantiated. Spite didn't know that like Sinder. Spite didn't know that Redacted and Nanoless talked about like not working with Spite anymore, and that Sinder knew about it. So that means Spite didn't know, which means Spite probably wasn't in the Girly Pops chat. But like, you know, Spite's just like on the outside just trying to hurt Sinder. The reason I give her a 2, whereas I give like Numi a 1, is really because I think Spite was Spite's just more malicious. I think Spite's actually trying to get Sinder. All right. So now we come to the Queen, Sinder herself. What did Sinder do? What was Cinder's part in all this? Alrighty. So faced with an array of enemies and friends manipulated to try and destroy her, what was Sinder actually guilty of? What's she taking accountability for? What did she actually do? Well, first and foremost, Cinder's big mistake was dating Redacted. Because she trusted that man a little bit too much with her career. And it came back to bite her. So Sinder was a pretty shitty friend to Bao. During the drama, it came out that like Sinder was actually distancing herself from Bao, and this was like like at Redacted's urging, because Redacted thought that Bao was out to get them. And Sinder was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Sinder did ask Nanoless to not work, so Sinder through Redacted was aware of and was approving of Nanoless not working with Silvervale anymore. Now the reason Sinder did this was because Silvervale was no communicado with her. Like, Silvervale obviously had some problem with her, and Sinder didn't want Silvervale to have a Nano model, specifically because Sinder stopped wanting to be compared to Nano. Sorry, Sinder wanted to stop being compared to Silver. Because this had been like a big harassment thing in her community, and she was just sick of hearing Silvervale. Because what Sinder would get was constantly people saying, oh, you're like a red Silvervale. And because Silvervale wasn't like gonna help sort out the problem, Sinder took like the action that she thought was correct, which was, well, if I can prevent Silvervale from getting a model from Nanoless, that'll mean like we'll have different artists, and so I'm not going to be compared anymore because we'll have different artists. Like, no, we're not like cookie cutters of each other. Sinder acted like pretty shittily towards Spite, because I mean, what's like, because normally when I say someone acted shitty, I think about like what else could they have done, and Sinder could have very easily reached out to Spite, like tried to be friends with Spite, try to bring Spite in with her, but instead Cinder would act a little bit petty towards Spite, and also Nanoless was asked not to work with Spite anymore. So like these two things count against Cinder pretty heavily. In terms of Aruuu, Numi, and Nyantales, all right. So Aruuu and Numi, Sinder did nothing wrong, okay? Sinder actually did go to the concert for Numi, like that's like a big thing. And for Aruuu, Sinder was acting like a genuine friend, like who's just like a slightly bigger VTuber. Like they did collabs together. They didn't particularly like talk about Silvervale all the time or anything, like Aruuu was claiming. For Nyantales, Sinder acted like a bit of a bitch. Sinder was a bit of a cow, but I mean, it was early in her career. She thought Nyantales was capitalizing on Cinder's brand, and honestly, like reading the way it was settled, like this looked like it was completely settled. So Nyantales is performing the dark arts of offense and necromancy when she brings up shit from 2021 to cancel Cinder over. It's really funny. As far as Bao, Cinder shouldn't have distanced herself from Bao. As far as Buffpup, Buffpup mostly just expressed disappointment in like she thought Cinder was a different person, so it's not clear that Cinder did anything to Buffpup either. And finally, in terms of Shylily, the only thing Cinder did to Shylily was exist. So, and Shylily took deep offense to that. Because most of Shylily's righteous anger against Cinder was actually like misrepresenting Cinder and Numi. It wasn't actually anything Cinder did to Shylily personally. It was just like Shylily's just like, fuck that bitch. You think you're the Charizard? You're going down. Anyway, so all in all, Cinder a little bit petty. I put her at a 4. She's a goober. Basically, there are things that Cinder did that, you know, like, it shows someone who's maybe childish. It shows someone who's childish. It shows someone who's, like, has naked ambitions. The rivalry between Cinder and Silvervale, like, depending on who gets cancelled, I could easily see Cinder doing, like, huge live streams on Silvervale going... like performing like fatalities on Silvervale over and over again. Just because like Cinder gets like vindictive glee of watching Silvervale like lose all of her followers. I can see that. But like the way the facts actually played out, it was Silvervale doing it to Cinder, so you know. I can't fault Cinder for what she would do in my headcanon. I can only fault her for the things that actually happened. And things that actually happened are asking Nano not to work with Spite, asking Nano not to work with Silvervale, even if she didn't actually lose any work off it, and being a bit of a cow to Nyantales. I think these are the main things I faulted Sinder over. Also, Sinder, it's a special kind of person. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a special kind of person who can face one of the most famous cancellations in history, and then come back from the grave with a 1,000-page Google Doc with literally all of the receipts, going, "I'm not wrong, you're wrong." that is a special and unique kind of internet goober. So just to be clear, Sinder did apologize for everything that she felt culpable for. Everything she didn't feel culpable for, she's probably not going to apologize for, so good luck to the anti-Sinder community for getting an apology out of Sinder. I don't think you're going to get it, because she seems like she's ready to fight. Nanoless has a lot to answer for. A lot of this drama is because Nanoless lied. And Shylily, oh my god, do not get on that woman's bad side. Because Shylily is like a master manipulator, Machiavellian genius who knows how to like turn the entire internet against you. Now again, it's not clear that Shylily had more information than anybody else. So it's not clear that Shylily, like, maybe she didn't know that Redacted. Maybe she didn't know or didn't realize that Nanoless cancelled on Bao long before any exclusivity was being negotiated. But it's not for me to say. Either way, Shylily did go out of her way to like completely kill the career of one of her business partners. Now, like I said, a lot of the way you determine if someone's a dickhead or not is based on what they could have done rather than what they actually did. And for all the people saying this could have been handled privately, I would like to see the conversation. Like, I would like to see the conversation in the secret Discord group, where they decided to cancel Sinder rather than contacting her, because that would be a very interesting conversation to me. Because obviously there was a because obviously the way that this could have gone is that these women all could have decided to just, why don't we just blacklist Sinder? Like that was obviously on the table at some point, and instead of blacklisting Sinder, they went out of their way to destroy her career and ruin her reputation. And a lot of the reason Nano and Shylily are so high, like a lot of the reason they're up here instead of like, because Nano and Shylily could have easily been like down in like the 1 to 4 internet goober levels, right? The reason they're up here is because these two, as far as I can tell, as far as I can read from like the screenshots I've seen, is these two are the ones who decided to misrepresent the truth and actually destroy Sinder, like on a personal and professional level. Unless other evidence comes out saying like they didn't do that. So I would like to know what the decision-making process was behind destroying Sinder's career. It seemed like from what Buffpup was saying and from what Bao was saying, they were legitimately afraid of Sinder. Like, they were legitimately afraid that Sinder was going to manipulate the truth. Which, to be fair, Sinder came out with a very convincing 1,000-page Google Doc. So if anything was like misrepresented in that, like, hey, let me know. Because like it looked like just a bunch of screenshots in order, and it looked like all of the receipts of everything like Redacted and Nano had ever talked about, as well as like everything Sinder had talked about with like these other creators. So if anything will add more context, I'm sure it'll add more context. And so finally, the best memes that probably came out of this drama was definitely Smoge. Whenever something bad happens to you, it's a Smoge. Which is what Bao said when a model got cancelled. Another great thing is Silvervale apparently paid a mod $500 to fix her Skyrim. And the funniest thing about Silvervale, like paying a mod $500 to fix her Skyrim, was that like when she was cancelling Sinder, it was in an Oblivion stream. So it's currently unconfirmed if Silvervale ever actually fixed her Skyrim. So RIP to Silvervale Skyrim. I don't know what's wrong with it, but apparently the mod failed to fix it for $500. So another good one was basically, if you read the document, there's multiple points where Sinder like fully tinfoil hats on like what the hell's going on. And one of the big mysteries of the entire cancellation was that Nanoless hired like this weird manager called Akira. And he basically used like ChatGPT to like cancel Silvervale in the most business-like way possible, which was like really, really weird. And she digs into it and she's like, actually, I think Akira is the Twitter user Momotex. And so Momotex was trying to pretend to be Akira to cancel on Nanoless so that Nanoless had time to coordinate with Shylily. And so, look, the meme is, or the question is, I should say, what does Momotex know? Who is Momotex? And of course we can't forget. We absolutely can't forget the whole... You're copying me! No, you're copying me! I was first! all the Mortal Kombat ninjas all backflip into the stage and start killing each other. Listen, unironically, I wasn't thinking about Mortal Kombat at all before I started reading this Google document, but now I can't get it out of my head. I've been binging Mortal Kombat content ever since watching these VTuber girlies destroy each other. Last but not least, I hope that Shylily is looking forward to the next retail expansion for World of Warcraft. She's deeply, deeply invested in World of Warcraft. I can tell you that much. And Shylily, you will always be the Blastoise.
I still find it funny that she called herself the Charizard V card.
Oh.
Girl forgot Lily wasn't a Goldeen, she is a fucking Kyogre. There is no competition.
God, that... Oh, when she said that, and when she tried to bring me onto... Okay, I know... When she sat there and she tried to make this thing with me and we were doing a collab and she was just like, oh haha, the Charizard on Blastoise V card doing the... Oh, like... How dare you sit there and pretend to be some Boggs legendary of something that you didn't create? Oh, disgusting.